I'm all about intentional living and simplifying my life. If you're new here, my life used to be quite chaotic. I was very directionless and I had no idea about what I wanted in my life. As a result, I started seeking validation from doing expensive shopping. Later on, I came across minimalism, and that's when everything changed. At some point, I actually aspired to becoming the perfect minimalist who never buys anything and owns next to nothing. But after a lot of trials and errors, I now know that minimalism can and should look different for everyone. And even though I no longer consider myself a hardcore minimalist, I've learned so much from the concept of minimalism. In this video, I want to talk about the 10 minimalist rules that have changed my life in so many positive ways. And I really believe that even if you're not into minimalism, these rules can still bring some amazing impacts to your life. The first minimalist rule that I continue to embrace is buying less, choosing well. Minimalism isn't about owning nothing, it's about owning less but better. For example, I now only buy clothes made of natural fibers, such as cotton, linen, silk, and cashmere. These materials do cost more compared to synthetic fabrics, such as acrylic, which means I can only have a smaller collection, but I'm perfectly happy with the trade-off because for me, quality and comfort are way more important than the excitement of having more variety. And for me, this rule applies to everything I buy, whether it is bags, shoes, or electronic gadgets. Quality should always come before quantity. And I think a very practical question to ask yourself right before making a purchase is, will I love this a year from now? And if you're not 100% sure, don't buy it. The second minimalist rule is one that's so life-changing for me, and this one is about embracing the idea of enough. In a world that's always asking us to do more, buy more, and be more, minimalism reminds us that we are enough and what we have can be enough as well. I used to think I needed more and more to feel satisfied, whether if it was bags, shoes, clothes, and everything else. But over time, I realized if I had no clue about what is enough, how is buying more ever the answer? To give you an example, I used to love shopping at Chanel, and once I bought something, I would immediately look for something else to add to my shopping wish list. At some point, I actually forgot that I had a certain Chanel handbag in my collection. It was then I realized that not only did I have enough, I had too much. So ever since I downsized my bag collection several years ago, I haven't actually bought a designer handbag. Instead, I focus on appreciating what I already have, and it just feels incredibly liberating. If you haven't already, I really recommend that you take some time to define what enough looks like for you and then stick to it. The third minimalist rule that has changed my life is prioritizing experiences over things. We often think that happiness comes from buying more and more stuff, but studies show that experiences bring much longer lasting joy than physical things, and I cannot agree more. In my minimalism journey, I've shifted from accumulating things to collecting memories. In the last 2 years, instead of shopping, we've been traveling quite a lot as a family, and those experiences and memories are way more precious to me than anything that I can buy from a store. Now, I'm not saying that you should never buy anything, but you just want to make sure that the things you buy align with your priorities. In my case, I feel like I already have enough stuff, and so I want to prioritize on making memories. Minimalist rule number 4 that everyone can benefit from is using our resources to invest in ourselves. This can be in the form of learning a new skill, trying out a new activity, or broadening our perspectives. These are real investments, even though they are not tangible. For example, I took some online courses a few years ago on digital illustrations, and it's one of the best things I've ever done for myself. Digital illustrations has opened up a new world to me, not to mention the immense joy that comes with doing it. Along the way, I've also been reading a lot of books and taking some courses to try to improve myself, and the whole process just feels so inspiring and nourishing. So essentially, I'm still spending money, but instead of shopping, I'm enriching myself and my life. And you know what? The amazing thing about investing in yourself is that these skills and knowledge will be with you wherever you go, unlike a big collection of handbags or a full closet of clothes. Minimalist rule number 5 is a big one, and I really think everyone needs this rule, especially in today's world where we are so easily distracted. And this one is about setting boundaries with your time and energy. I used to say yes to everything, including going to social events that I didn't enjoy and taking on work commitments that were outside my job role. This fear of letting people down left me so overwhelmed and incredibly burnt out. So now I've learned the power of saying no and focusing on what truly aligns with my values and goals. At the end of the day, time is your most valuable resource, so be intentional with how you spend it. Minimalist rule number 6 that everyone can benefit from is that the less you own, the less you have to maintain. You see, everything that you own requires your time, energy, and attention. For example, I have a small collection of cashmere pieces, and as much as I enjoy this material, taking care of it requires time and money. First of all, I had to purchase a gentle detergent, a steamer, and a fabric shaver to take care of the peeling. Not to mention, hand washing and steaming take up time as well. Now, I personally don't mind doing it because I wear my cashmere so much, but I am very mindful about adding to my physical belongings because I don't want to spend all my time taking care of my things. And remember, this applies to everything that we own. Essentially, every physical item will need some kind of aftercare in the long run. So the less you own, the more time you'll have for the things that you enjoy doing. In my case, I always consider the aspect of mobility, especially when it comes to expanding my closet. At the moment, I don't have any plan to relocate, but I like to know that if my circumstances change, I wouldn't have to drag a mountain of things with me to a new place. Number 7, another amazing minimalist rule that everyone can embrace is to practice mindful consumption. And I'm referring to absolutely everything that you let into your life. This includes the media you consume, the relationships you nurture, the diet you put in your body, and of course, the things you buy. And I think this rule is more essential than ever because in today's world, we really can get everything with just a few clicks. But sometimes we forget to pause and ask ourselves, is this really what I want? And is it actually good for me? This is why minimalism can be so beneficial for everyone. In fact, it's the reason why I don't scroll on Instagram anymore. I'm also not on TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, Snapchat, and you name it. In terms of relationships, I don't welcome toxic people into my life, but I am very loyal to the people whom I love. And of course, I have to touch on shopping if you're talking about mindful consumption. I think there's a notion nowadays in our society that if you can afford it, you should just buy it. For example, leasing a new car every 4 years does not make sense financially and many times environmentally as well. But because so many people are doing it, it becomes a norm. But do so many of us actually need a new car so soon? I personally don't think so. Minimalist rule number 8 is creating space for what truly matters. Minimalism isn't just about physical things, but also about creating space for what's really important to you. When you clear out the clutter, whether it is the mindless distractions or the unnecessary commitments, you are creating space for what brings you joy, peace, and fulfillment. For me, this means reducing screen time and focusing on my hobbies, such as illustrating, reading, and journaling. I think a good way to start is by asking yourself, what matters the very most to me, and how can I create space and time for that in my life? Moving on to minimalist rule number 9. I guess we can't talk about minimalism without mentioning decluttering. Personally, I have benefited massively from downsizing my wardrobe. By only keeping the pieces that I actually love wearing, I no longer have to go through a mountain of clutters just to put together an outfit. This means dressing up in the morning is stress-free and also very enjoyable. Not only that, my shopping actually went down heavily. In fact, I've been doing low buy for a number of years and I don't feel like I'm sacrificing anything, even though my wardrobe is smaller than before. So I absolutely recommend everyone to declutter their physical belongings. But here is something that we often overlook: digital clutter. And I'm talking about the never-ending emails, unnecessary apps, and the constant noise from social media. Digital clutter is just as draining as physical one, and it can really affect your mental clarity. So I recommend setting aside some time each week to clear out your inbox, remove apps that you don't use, and unfollow accounts that no longer inspire you. I like to think of it as a digital detox, and I promise you, your mind will feel so much clearer when your digital world is simplified. Minimalist rule number 10 that everyone should embrace with open arms is to practice gratitude. One thing that minimalism made me realize is that less really can be more. If I compare my life now to that of before minimalism, I have a lot less in terms of physical things. But with everything that I own, I appreciate them so much more. This is because I know that I've chosen very carefully what to keep in my life. Quite simply, things that I have are there to serve a purpose, and things that I don't are simply what I don't need. I know some people might think that minimalism is just a hype, but it really is an amazing tool which can shift a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. In fact, I feel like I have so much more now than before because I regained so much of my time, energy, and mental space. Those are the 10 minimalist rules that everyone can benefit from. Even if you don't consider yourself a minimalist, these rules have completely changed my life for the better in so many ways, and I really hope you found them helpful as well. That's it from me today. Thank you for being here. Take care, and I will see you soon.